You wouldn't believe, I just figured out who's actually running the world. I know exactly who it is. I know who's running America, I know who's running Australia, the entire Western world. You know who it is? You know who it is? Your acquiescence. Your lack of critical thinking. Your reactiveness. Your inability to walk away and actually run your life, because at the end of the day, who gives a fuck who's running Australia? Let's make it, how about we make it, nobody's running Australia except Australians. How's that? Doesn't matter where they're from. It's a matter of whether they want to assimilate or not. If they don't want to assimilate, stop asking the government to get rid of them. They brought them here. Why would they want to get rid of them? They brought them here for a reason. You're so fucking silly. You're so stupid. It's, I feel like just pointing at you and going, what a fucking dumb cunt. That's what I feel like. They're not running the country. They're running your mind. They're running your mind with your emotions and with your ego, with your pride, with your need to be right all the time. Because you need to be right all the time, you refuse to ever be mistaken, and that's why you're always fucking wrong. You're never prepared to pivot and correct yourself. You're never prepared to think, no, we just got to try and push back harder. We just got to try harder. We just got to try harder, push back harder. It's the idea. The more you push back, the more you give them permission to release the hounds, Smithers. The more you are manufacturing consent for everyone that opposes you, because you're also fucking fragmented and too busy having to be right. That you're still doing the same fucking thing that we've been doing for the last 2,000 years, 3,000 years. Since the BC times. Yeah, we've been doing the same thing since BC. Before Christ. See, problem with a lot of you is you're treating it as before Christianity, after Christianity. Oh, we're civilized now, we can't do that. Can't do what? Manage your own life. Christianity is a religion. This is a little bit of the play where I do get a bit shitty with the name. The only thing where I do get shitty with the name. There's no J in the Hebrew language and there's no vowels. All there are is representations on how to pronounce the words, and they were created by those who translated the Bibles, the scriptures, the stories, the parables to the actual truths. A parable is like a fable, but also a lot of it is true. I had a goose the other day that tried to tell me that Yahuwah, well, you call him Jesus, was never a carpenter, nor was Joseph. There was no such things as hammers and nails. Okay. His actual Hebrew name was Yahuwah, YHWH. It's read right to left, right to left for you. Means hand behold, nail behold. With hand and nail, he built. If that ain't fucking a carpenter's name, I don't know what is. Reading it back the other way is behold hand, behold nail. Because Hebrew language is very much like that. And if you actually like, absent-minded enough to think that there was a guy called Genghis Khan, because it's historically proven but it's not historically proven that there was ever a man called Yahuwah who wandered around the entireties of like Africa and Jerusalem and Bethlehem and Nazarene and the Philistines and Rome and everywhere else, speaking a mixture of Aramaic and Hebrew. Sorry to tell you, but there's something like 28,000 different historical texts and records of that man. It's about 26 for Genghis Khan, the Mongolian, who apparently invaded China, and why they built the Great Wall of China. Just by the battle of numbers on its own, considering a lot of them was through national census. You know, the censuses that we do, they've been doing them for a long time. Imperial Rome did it before Christ was even born. Back in Augustus Caesar's time. Julius Caesar's father. Pontius Pilate was in charge of taking censuses during the time of life of Christ. There's no denying that Pontius Pilate existed. So that's just it's a matter of historical fact, isn't it? Now, I really don't care if you're a religious fruitcake or if you walk in Christ, if you're an actual Christian or a Christianity goose. I don't care. I'm a bit like TJ, Bear Independent. I'm a bit like him, but at the same token, I am nothing like him in the sense that I have to humble myself to even speak that man's name. Why? Well, he does the things that I probably should have been doing a long time ago. He does all the things. He literally walks in Christ and embodies everything that is Christ and does it with an AR-15 with many other men, actually kicking in the doors, actually saving actual kids from actual sex slavery and women and rehabilitating them in an organisation by the name of Caleb House. Excuse me. He runs Refuge Medical. He runs other companies. He Grindstone Ministries, where he's a church minister. He's a church minister with an AR-15 and calloused hands. He does disaster relief through all the hurricane and tornado zones that he can get to, Oklahoma, Texas, right up the coast. I've seen all the footage of him doing. I've seen him do full-on live streams day after day after day after day. I've seen him cry. Have little moments where he's had to cry and stuff. I've seen him in live podcasts with people where they've asked him a question about his past when he used to be a cocaine addict, and he's just fallen to pieces and had to collect himself to go on. That man did not fake that, I'm telling you now. Why am I telling you all this? Because there was a man that they nailed to a pole 2,000 years ago, 300 years before they invented crucifixions in Greece. Who showed us how to fix this problem, and all these years later we're still being idiots and still not doing what he told us. There's a reason they nailed him to the pole, because they knew that was the way that would work. What was the way that would work? Turn from this shit. Turn from it. Don't fight it. Turn from it. How do you get a dog or a pet or whatever that depends on you to feed it to run away on you? I know, it sounds horrible. How do you end up with your own children or running away on you, or your parents giving up on you. You ignore them. Completely ignore them as if they don't exist. How do you get rid of the bad kids that lead you astray? Ignore them. Stop hanging around with them. Yeah, nah. Don't even answer the door to them. They stop knocking. Stop answering the phone to them. Eventually they stop calling. But you have to change your number. You have to change, your address. You have to go to a different park to play, and don't tell them where you went. In other words, do not engage. Non-compliance means non-engagement. The only engagement that you should have ever been making was watching many, many, many years ago to see the pattern that has formed, to realise for yourself, hang on, every 3 years we go to the polling booth with a pencil, 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 that can be erased with an eraser, eraser. In a country that does census. And what is census? Everyone's name, everyone that's been born, everyone that's died. Why do they do a census? So they know exactly how many voters there are. Why? So that then they can lie about the population and fudge an election in any direction they want it to go, with the extra 2 or 3,000 people, 2 or 3 million people that don't actually exist. All you need is what, 3? Oh, in Australia, what have we got? 26 million people, they say. They say. What if there's only 20 to 21 million people? 4 or 5 million people in Australia is plenty enough to throw an election in any direction you want and put any power you want, any party you want, in control of the Senate and the upper and lower house, and still call it a fair and honest election, because prove it wasn't. Prove that all those people don't even exist. I've just rattled your cage now, haven't I? It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a theory, all right. A theory that has a lot of credence. You have to think like a sneaky bastard to figure out what a sneaky bastard's up to. Now that is actually, I can't prove that. That is one thing that I'm not going to say is a fact on the population. But I'm still yet to hear somebody find a way to prove that wrong. You can't. There's no way to prove that wrong. No way to prove it right. There's no way to prove it wrong. How do we prove it right? I'll tell you exactly how we prove it right. Or wrong. How do you prove it wrong? I would love, excuse me, for the sound that come out of my hole just above my chin and under my nose. Governor General, dissolve Parliament. You have the supreme authority of government, not of the Commonwealth, of government, to dissolve Parliament, puts us into a military-controlled martial law with everything inside our 12 nautical miles out to sea sovereign border of this country. Completely stop diplomatic immunity passages, so no shipping container goes unchecked, in or out. Piss all the foreign dictates and so forth, dignitaries, all of them. Go, with all respect and love, please, you need to leave our country for a while we fix our country. It's a mess. It's probably best you do for your own country's best interests. We hold military tribunals of every single thing that's connected to a taxpayer's salary. From teachers to constabulary to judiciary. These are the things I do agree with Ricardo Bosi on. But let's not have America come and do it, hey? Because that would be occupation of a foreign government. That would be a coup d'etat of a foreign nation. Why can't we do it ourselves, our own military in our own country, and do it ourselves? have a people's coup. How do we bring that about? By doing absolutely nothing with absolute conviction and absolute purpose. We bring the government to its knees, not the country, the government. We can still help each other. We can still feed each other. Farmers can choose to go, no, stick it up your ass. I'm going to feed our people. We're going to feed our people. We don't need money as much as we need to eat. We don't need shiny bling bling objects as much as we need somewhere to live. Sorry, but you can't have foreign investment in our country unless you are going to dissolve your own foreign citizenship. If you don't want to do that, then go back to where you came from, and we will dissolve the Australian one for you. You're either here or you're there. You can't serve two masters. Believe me, this is doable. This is all constitutionally above board and doable. It can be done, and it should be done, and it must be done. But the only way we're going to force their hand is not by fighting them. It's by starving them into it, starving them into irrelevance. They're not doing anything we want them to do. They're not disobeying police, but they're not obeying them. It's called civil disobedience through lawful rebellion. But that can't be accomplished on your own. They just make an example out of individuals. But if the whole country does it, if we've got the numbers to do it, we bring the government to its knees. The Governor General then has no choice but to dissolve Parliament. Otherwise, we just get... excuse me. Oh, a busy drink. Otherwise, we just spiral into complete and utter chaos. Now, let's not confuse chaos with anarchy. There is such a thing as purposeful, organised anarchy. Anarchy is just self-governance. Not self-governance of the individual. That's called responsibility. Self-governance is governance of the people, by the people, for the people, in favour of the people, with the people above the Constitution, and a Constitution above the governance. The body of governance, not government. We don't need a government. We just need self-governance. A set of rules that we abide by, and then we employ those that we need who earn their way to those positions, serve with honour, and if not, we have recall elections for all those people. Don't like the way they're doing the job, they're doing it wrong, they're running roughshod, they're corrupt, whatever, bam, enough people get together. Okay, that electorate area then goes back to the polls to vote someone out. Do you want this person to stay, or do you want them out? They have to go out, bam, and then through nomination you nominate somebody else for the job. Those nominations must be gauged on historical proof of what sort of a person they are, not on what promises they're going to make and break. We got that. It doesn't work. See, democracy is nothing more than by popular demand. That's all it is, by popular demand. Now, when you've got, I'm going to say 20 billion people, and you've got 11 people yay, 11 million people yay, and 9 million people nay, that's 9 million people that are disenfranchised, that aren't very happy, which is almost half the population. Now that doesn't work with those sort of numbers. It works only in electorate areas, only in villages. But once you get to numbers greater and greater and greater, and you start getting all these different ideologies on what people want, what they think other people shouldn't have, and that creates fucking all kinds of chaos. Look around. What do we have? Chaos. That's not anarchy, that's chaos. However, Like I've said a gazillion times before, we go into a full-on military-controlled martial lockdown with military tribunals for everyone, from the education, constabulary, judiciary, the bureaucracy, state parliaments, the federal parliament, independent senators, lawyers, barristers, all of them. If you've done nothing wrong and you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear, have you? That's the same rhetoric that we've been thrown at us for our entire life, where if you don't break the law and you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear, have you? Yeah, but we have, haven't we? The mission creep. We've got to stop the mission creep and get things back to a place where we can actually manage it from a workable start point, a common ground of common law. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, it sounds like somewhere where we all of a sudden we become our own founding fathers and create our own fucking country. F-bomb, the barbarian. Like I say, I don't think everything that Bosie has to say it should be thrown out the window. You don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. That's just stupid. He's got a lot of things worth taking on board. Why? Because he knows. Do I think his intentions are pure? You know, righteous and pure conscientiousness? No, I don't. I think he's got an ulterior game plan going on. He's got different motives. I'm sick of people letting their dogs piss on my plants out there. Anyway, there's worse things to whinge about. But these people tell you what you want to hear, and they also they're always dropping crumbs of what needs to be done. He's not wrong when he says all that can be done and should be done. He's absolutely right. But the motives as to why he wants those done, I don't think are pure. Because he's the national leader of A1. I'm just the leader of my home. And that's all I ever want to be. I don't want to lead anyone to anything. I just want you to come to these conclusions on your own. I want to trigger the thought for you to realise, you know what, I'm going to look into that. Yes, that's something that can be done. Even if we have to bend legislation a little bit. Because it's not like legislation doesn't bend the law. That's an understatement. It's not like executive legislature doesn't trample all over our fucking law, is it? All over our sovereignty, all over trespass, all over all of our individual rights, God-given, not government privilege, God-given rights. Whether you believe in God or not, they are God-given rights. They are rights that you just automatically have. But you choose not to use them. You choose to hand them over to somebody and say, oh, you can have them. They're not going to give them back. You're going to have to take them back, you know. There's only way to get them back. Only one way to get them back, and you have to take it back. Advantages are taken, not handed out. Holier than thou, Metallica. Listen to the words. Advantages are taken and handed out while you struggle inside your head. Ouch! Reaching out. If you don't like the music genre, just read the words. Look up the lyrics and read the words. Musicians have been trying to tell us this for years and years, a long time, all the way back to Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, the Highwaymen. And I don't even like country music. Chris Christopherson. Anyway, You'll figure it out one day, I guess.